Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Tusk Talk with Ty post-game live show. It's the best post-game show, no matter where. If you're talking radio, YouTube, whatever, podcast, this is it, baby. This is the best post-game around. And yes, we're going to give out a gold chain. Someone's going to get the post-game MVP gold chain. Someone's getting it. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Shout out to SLR, Sports Live Reaction, for giving the channel so much love. He and Mello are both now in our Discord, by the way, so maybe you should join the Tusk Talk with Ty Discord. Maybe you ought to do that. It's a lot of fun over there. Okay, shout out to Patreon supporters as well, and of course the sponsors of this show: Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company, same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than the best, baby. Closing in on 1,000 total 5-star reviews. 501-244-3667. Again, that's Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. All right, Arkansas starts off the first half at first a little back and forth, and then they just like hit the pedal to the metal, got a 20-point lead. It was this game had Mississippi State written all over it. It had Mississippi State 2.0 written all over it. Crazy game. I don't know that I would call it like a great game. The first half was great. I think we could all agree with that. The first half was fantastic. They weren't juggling balls. They were making shots. They were shooting. They shot really well in the first half. Appreciate all the retweets. Follow Tusk Talk with Ty Discord or Twitter, excuse me. You can go over there and you can retweet the live. I'm told I don't push my socials enough. I've only got that one, really. I mean, that's really the only social I have. So yeah, they had to tough out the dub, man. They had to tough out the dub. Big Z limited. He hurt his thumb. No idea on his availability. He did check back in. And then I don't know how many minutes he got in the second half after that, after his thumb. Arkansas basically down to a 6-man rotation. You feel like that win, if it does anything for Arkansas, it helps you. It at least you don't have a second ugly loss, as they would probably call this, right? I don't care what quad they are. Everyone keeps referring to them as a South Carolina, a potential ugly loss. So at least you scrap that, right? You don't have to worry about that. Now you gotta go deal with Ole Miss. They're playing for seeding. They know they're in. Arkansas, again, I'm gonna say it, they are in. And I think today did nothing more but it just allowed you to apply the rubber stamp. They're in. You don't have that second ugly loss. It's another SEC win under your belt. You got revenge, not in the way you wanted it. I wanted Arkansas to win this thing big. I wanted them to win. I thought with that 20-point lead. Listen, we knew that 20-point lead, first off, was not going to hang around. When you're that short on your rotation, when you're banged up, they can't close games out, or they can close them out. They can't blow someone out. They're not going to do that. They're going to have games like this. And considering how South Carolina plays, they're physical. They're gonna bang you around a little bit around in the paint. By the way, the officiating in the second half, what the hell happened? Arkansas could not buy a foul in the second half. I'm not saying this was that it got this way because of officiating. It got this way because you went 8 minutes. I think it was almost 8 minutes in the second half without a bucket, without a field goal. 8 minutes until that DJ Wagner 3. That's insanity. I don't care if you're down to just 5 guys on the floor at all times. I don't care. 8 minutes without a bucket. You know, and listen, South Carolina, they'll play, they'll man you up, they'll do what they got to do. At home, you're going to always get, well, I shouldn't say always, but typically you're going to get the benefit of the doubt on some of those light contact fouls. It felt like a home game for South Carolina in that second half. Their crowd was in it, their bench was in it, and the officials were in it. Arkansas just could not buy a foul. I don't care what Jay Bilas was saying. But again, 8 minutes without a bucket's why you're in the situation that you're in. Okay, we have a poll up. Hogs will beat Ole Miss tomorrow. 58% of you say yes. 42% of you say no. Transplanted Texan says, Hogs winning a second-half nail-biter. That's exactly what happened. I can't tell you. This is big. This is big because you absolutely – you needed – you had to prove that, number one, that game against South Carolina, when you played them at their house, that game was a fluke. And we talked about this. It was absolutely a fluke. We said this on Monday's show. Hopefully you guys were there and you watched it, but we talked about it. What happened – Vanderbilt proved that game was a fluke. Vandy is a better team than South Carolina. And what did you do? You went on the road and you took care of business against Vandy. I got to say, that is a game Arkansas did control despite having a seven-man availability on their roster with that rotation. I guess you could say that Vanderbilt game is an example that they are capable, I guess. But they haven't done that a lot this year. Even when they had an eighth guy, even when they had a ninth guy, they didn't really do that a lot this year. They were winning a lot of close games, or it felt that way anyways. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm remembering some of those games incorrectly. Brazil got hurt also. Yeah, Big Z, Brazil. Yeah. T.I. says, I think it was almost 11 minutes, actually. I don't know. I don't know they got to 11. Maybe it did. I thought it was 8. The point being, it was a very long time without a bucket. I want to win every game we play, but we need the rest if we don't want to be one and done in the big one. Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? Like, do you want to advance beyond Ole Miss? Like, do you want to play that game again? So here's the bracket. Here's what the bracket looks like. I'll blow this up for you. You will hear construction. They're working on the road. They're working on the road, like literally right in front of my damn house. I don't know if my mic's picking that up or not. Maybe you can kind of hear it. So, yeah, it is happening. So I apologize for that. Nothing I can do about it. Blame the city of Springdale. But there's that bracket. So, good Lord, that is so loud. Oh, my God. Ole Miss tomorrow at noon. Bro. Oh, my God. Hang on. Okay, maybe that's a little better. I muted my mic for a second. That is ridiculous. They've been doing road work all up and down Butterfield Coach. Now they're down my road. But what the hell was I saying? Oh, do you want to advance? Of course you do, right? Maybe if you can get a win against Ole Miss, then you've got that rematch against Auburn, which would also be a nooner. It'd be a nooner. Of course, it wouldn't, they couldn't make that like a PM game just to give you an opportunity to get a little extra rest. But if you can get past Ole Miss, I have no idea if they can or not. I do think Arkansas is a better team compared to the last time they played them. For sure, a better team. But you're banged up. You could be down to really 6 usable players on the floor. Dude, I don't know. I don't know that you hear that very often. Cal said that he did one year. I think was it Memphis or somewhere he coached where he did have a 6-man rotation. I don't remember how he said that went. I mean, I'm assuming it was a tournament team or else he wouldn't have brought it up. But I don't know. This is a different day and age in college basketball. Not only that, the SEC is just on another level this year, on a level of the likes we've never seen before. So I don't know, man. A part of me is just like, you know what? Go out there and play your best. Maybe you just play not to lose. I don't know. I'm with you guys. I want Arkansas to win. Of course you do, right? But my God. I mean, the NCAA tournament is right around the corner. We got Selection Sunday coming up. Like, it's time to just kind of – we need a breather, and we need to figure out what's going on with Brazil and Big Z. By the way, Brazil did not play high IQ ball in the second half. And I don't know what that was about with Nelly at the free throw. Oh, here he comes. He's back. Hang on. Let me mute my mic. Hang on. Yeah, they waited until I went live. I love that. It wasn't that bad all game, and then right when I go live, they start doing this. Damn you! It's got to be hot out there, though, huh? I turned my AC down in here. I turned it up, and I'm starting to sweat a little bit. Probably should bring it back down. Anyways, Ty, what happens if we don't have enough? What do you mean if we don't have enough? Enough of what? City Boy Floyd says it was UMass, so maybe it was UMass. You're right. It was UMass. He was talking about a 6-man rotation. Ty, why was Nelly mad about the second free throw going in? It locked up the game. If he intentionally missed, South Carolina has a chance to tie it up. Only thing I can think of, maybe they thought South Carolina had a timeout. I don't know. I can't explain that. I think everyone was confused by that. If you guys can't hear it, you're saying you can't hear it. I can, and it's so loud. It's like it's almost vibrating my walls. So it's very distracting. But again, if you hear it, I apologize. The audio isn't bad, Bubba. I can barely hear. Well, that's good. Then I've got the sound, the whatever you call it, the sound blocker. It's on, but it's so loud, dude. It's shaking the floor. God. All right. Let's get into the numbers here really fast. Don't ask. The first half, what a first half by Jonas Adu on both ends of the floor. What a game that guy played in the first half. Second half, I'm not going to say he did absolutely nothing because that's not fair. But he wasn't as dominant as he was in the first half, and a lot of that had to do with South Carolina. They were not going to give him any open post looks. But this is what ended up happening with South Carolina. They shoot not great. I mean, this is terrible. 23 of 59, 39%. Yeah, that's tough, especially when you're playing a team that's shooting 55% in the first half. They go 8 of 23. It felt like just about every three was going in. Like for a little while there in the first half, like they were starting to come around a little bit. But Arkansas was able to put on the brakes, man. They were able to really contain what South Carolina was doing on the offensive end of the floor. But they would go 8 of 23, 14 of 18 at the line. Now, you compare that to the first half. What did Arkansas do that was so great? Well, they got 22 points. I think it was 22 or 20 points in the paint. Just 4 second chance points. They only had 3 offensive boards in the first half. It felt like more. And only 4 fast break points. In the first half, they were 4 of 6 on layups. Again, 22 points. And then the other thing they did, their bench helped them out a ton. Their bench in the first half totaled with 19 points. And, of course, a lot of that's thanks to Jonas Adu, who was fantastic for Arkansas in the first half. But, yeah, South Carolina. So Arkansas was shooting 55%. South Carolina in the first half was 38.5%. They had no bench help. They had 7 points off their bench and just 5 boards, again, just from their bench. Jamari Thomas was a problem with 10 points. And then Boyles, who's someone you needed to contain, he kind of had himself a decent first half, 4 boards, 1 assist, just 1 turnover, and 9 points. So that's first half numbers. You go to the complete game, as I mentioned, they shot 35% outside. They're averaging about 30% outside. I think their average is it's hovering around that 30%. It's 30% off about 20, I want to say 23 attempts per game. But they shot really well at the line, 78%, 12 offensive boards. They beat you in that area. They beat you on the offensive boards. They end up with 36 total rebounds. Again, just 7 points from their bench in the entire game. Boyles ends up, despite playing a little banged up, they could not stop talking about that, by the way. They could not stop talking about that. And it was starting to get annoying. We get it, dude. Boyles is grimacing. We understand that. All right. Arkansas's already down 2 star players. Big Z's playing with 1 hand or a stump of a hand. What are we doing? Big Z has obviously been a big key to this offense at times, knocking down threes. He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, and we're not going to talk about that? They're talking him up Boyles. I don't care, dude. We get it. You guys like the guy. Let's talk about, if you're going to talk about that, you need to mention what Arkansas is having to deal with. Not that they didn't at all. They did, but they could not. They had to focus. Was that his girlfriend on the bench? Is that who they were focusing on too? Like, that girl got more talk and camera time than Arkansas's injuries, right? It seemed like he was, I don't know what he is. That guy is anti-Arkansas. I have said that for like a very, very long time. You know, he's only ever been to Bud Walton once. Now, that's not his fault. That's, of course, the network, you know, where they send him. But he doesn't think very highly of the University of Arkansas. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. I don't think Jay Bilas, I don't think he gives two shits about the U of A. And it's very telling when he calls an Arkansas game, because he'll go on about the other team's issues and what they're having to deal with through their trials and tribulations. And he'll kind of go over Arkansas, but then he goes on about Boyles' injury as though the guy was out there playing with like crutches or something. The guy scored 20 points. He had a double-double. He was tough. That's great. Good for him. It was an admirable effort by Boyles. Good for him. But, geez, shut the hell up, dude. Got so tired of hearing about that. Thomas, to me, was also really good for them. He had 16 points. He did have 3 turnovers, but 16 points, 2 steals, 2 assists with 1 board. Jordan Butler was kind of a firecracker off the bench for them. Like, just defensively, he ended up with 1 assist, 4 boards, and 5 points, 0 turnovers, 2 of 5 from the floor overall. By the way, Boyles got to 20 points just shooting 6 of 10. That's pretty impressive. But he got that, you know, because you couldn't touch him. You could not touch this guy without getting called for a foul. I mean, he had 8 attempts, you know, at the line. Not that that's a ton, but they just could not touch this guy. That was my issue in the second half. He was untouchable around the post. Meanwhile, Arkansas, you got Wagner or Nelly trying to drive to the rim, and they're getting bodied, and we're not getting a call. So, I don't know. I just kind of thought that second half was called quite a bit different than the first half from the officials. Again, that's not why you blew your 20-point lead. You blew your 20-point lead. There was a shot. Brazil tries, you know, you're on this 7-minute scoring drought, I think, at the time, and Brazil tries a corner pocket 3, plenty of time on the shot clock. Could have moved the ball a little bit. And again, someone pointed out in chat, well, they're tired and they do this all the time. Yeah, but you could still pass up that look. It was a contested shot. There's such a thing as high IQ basketball. And Brazil at times, I love the effort he has given in the second half of the season, the last several games of the regular season, and even today. I really do. He actually, you know, may not have had the highlight game that we all thought that he might have again, but he ended up playing a pretty damn good game and had some pretty big plays. But that was a very low IQ, what the hell are you doing moment. You know, and I think he also was it him that got hit with that with the goaltend, I think, or maybe it was basket interference. Might have been both. I don't know. He just sometimes, you know, he plays a little wild and a little carefree, especially on some of those cleanups. He's looking for the highlight play. He's just looking to help out and get boards. I really think he's a selfless guy. I do. I like the way he plays. He just has these moments. It's like it makes you want to tear your hair out. Especially the gray ones that you're suddenly finding more and more of. So South Carolina, they really, the first half, I think ultimately is why they lost this game. They had to slowly pick away at this lead, and they did that, but Arkansas was just too tough there in the final minutes. They came through clutch. Wagner came through clutch. But you got to give it to South Carolina. I really think that style of play, that physical brand of ball, it's just Arkansas's kryptonite. When you've got a little bit of size and when you can move guys around the way South Carolina can, they clog up those lanes to the rim. They really wanted to prevent – that was their goal in the second half, force Arkansas to stretch the floor, and they just couldn't do it. Again, however many minutes, you guys are saying 11. I thought it was maybe 7 or 8, whatever. To do that, you're doing something right defensively. Also, Arkansas' shot selection was just kind of crap. So it kind of bled into what was happening. And then, you know, there were a couple of shots that just didn't fall, and that happens. So what did Arkansas end up doing? Let me refresh my page here. There we go. We got minutes now. Don't know how accurate they are, but Vicic would end up with 17 minutes, by the way. He did have 5 boards. I thought at times defensively he was there, did a pretty good job of clogging up the lane, but for the most part, Big Z was just out there after he hurt his hand, he was just there to kind of alter shots, maybe get a shot block if he can. That's really all he was out there for, and he didn't get a lot of time out there. He was 4 for 4 at the line, though. Arkansas at one point in this game, I believe was, 12 for 12 at the line? When have they done that all year? I mean, they're a decent free throw shooting team, and they have been lately. They've been a decent free throw shooting team. Maybe not great, but decent. They've had a couple of games that really stand out at the end of the year. But this is going to be one of them. This is probably the best free throw shooting on a neutral floor. Tell me the last time they shot above 90% on a neutral floor. 94% at the free throw line for Arkansas. You can argue that is why ultimately they won this game, was at the free throw line. So, Ivisic with 4 points on just 17 minutes. Brazil quietly had a really good game. Like I said, despite those two kind of low IQ moments, you can argue that they were tired and that's going to happen. That's fine. But this guy's been playing a lot of minutes lately. I mean, he has. He's playing probably – it feels like he's averaging close to 36, 37 minutes a game, which is not something that was happening earlier in the year. But he ends up with a pretty good game. But let's talk about what overall they did as a team. 44% from the floor, so 25 of 56 there. Not great three-point shooting. It started off pretty good, but 7 of 22, which is going to put you under 32%. They, again, 15 of 16 at the free throw line is incredible. Just 8 offensive boards to South Carolina's 12. And then you ended up getting out-rebounded by 2 with 34 to their 36. So, yeah, and again, Brazil and Richmond. How about Richmond? Quietly has 9 points. I say quietly, not really. 4 assists, 2 blocks, 0 turnovers on 26 minutes. Congratulations, freshman. One of the better games he's had, and he's had some really good games. He didn't turn the ball over. Remember, we talked about this in, what was this, last weekend? Last post-game show, I think we talked about this. Richmond checks in, and he turns the ball over within the first 2 or 3 offensive possessions. He had 0 turnovers with 9 points. Jonas freaking Adu started this game off incredible. 5 for 5 is what he started off. He ends up 6 of 8, 0 for 1 outside, 2 for 2 at the line, 2 offensive boards, 11 rebounds. This is going to be a tough one. I'll say that for the gold chain. 14 points, just 2 turnovers, 4 fouls. He did get into some foul trouble there in the second half. Brazil, hell of a game. 5 of 9, 3 of 6 outside. He shot 50%, and he was perfect at the free throw line, 3 for 3. He had 7 boards. Tied for the most offensive rebounds with, of course, Adu with 2. But again, 7 total rebounds. He had 4 steals, 1 block, just 2 turnovers, 16 points. Brazil quietly got himself into the conversation. Again, I shouldn't even say that. He was on fire in the first half too. I mean, he was knocking down threes. Nelly Davis with 14 points, 2 assists, 2 assists, 3 steals. And then DJ Wagner, 6 assists with just way too many turnovers. 4, not a fan of that from your point guard, getting 4 turnovers. He's good for about 3 or 4 a game. I mean, he's turning the ball over more and more, and he's getting a little sloppy, but then he comes back with these clutch plays later in the game. 13 points for him. So who in the hell gets this gold chain? Gold chain, Kenny Payne, says Camo Gang. Well, that rhymed perfectly, didn't it? Who do y'all think should get this chain? I mean, it's kind of tough. It's kind of like you want to give it to 2 guys. It's kind of like I'm gonna be real with you. For me, I mean, you could throw Wagner into that conversation. Wagner, he was 5 of 12 shooting. 12 attempts to get to 13 points. But that 3 was huge by him. He swung the game with that 3 after Arkansas had gone that long without any minutes on the floor. But the 4 turnovers, just kind of silly. He had both his fouls were kind of silly. He's not going to get player of the game, but he's at least in the conversation because of that. You guys know I appreciate a clutch play here or there, and that was clutch. I'm digging the 6 assists. I'm just not digging, only being +2. In that category with the 4 turnovers. It's down to Brazil and Adu for sure. Adu's first half was incredible. And to be fair, this is not a guy that scores 14 points, nor does he have very many double-doubles. It feels kind of obvious that it should go to Adu, but Brazil, 3 of 6 outside. Perfect at the free throw line, 3 for 3. Adu was 2 for 2. The thing that you really like is he played, okay, so he got 38 minutes in this game, and he had just 2 turnovers. He's doing this thing where he's getting 37, 38 minutes or 40 minutes. The Texas game, when it went into overtime, he had 40 minutes of play, and he had, 1 turnover in that game, I think? He's playing like careful ball for the most part. Again, he just has a couple of moments. I'm going to give it again to Jonas Adu. Those couple of plays by Brazil kind of keep me out of it for him. Not that Adu played terrific either. I think Adu might have gotten hit with a basket interference if I'm not wrong. But Adu ended up with the double-double. Honestly, that first half, that 20-point lead does not happen without Jonas Adu. Again, 2 offensive boards, 11 total rebounds, a steal, a block, just 2 turnovers, and 14 points with a double-double. His performance in the first half provided the hype and the excitement and the energy. He wasn't alone for sure. Brazil was a part of that. I just thought Adu was terrific. He was terrific around the post. Defensively, he was the best player on the floor. That's another reason why I think I'm going to give him the nod. So, again, congrats to Jonas Adu, who gets the gold chain. Transplanted Texan says, Adu, Brazil gets honorable mention. I like that. Perfect. Love it. Adu, because of Brazil's bonehead plays at the end. Mike and them says, I agree. I think, again, some of that was just some of it. You're going to make mental errors when you have that many minutes on the floor, right? That is perfectly understandable. I mean, he had, again, 37 minutes. That's the most of any Razorback in this game, including Nelly Davis, who got 36 minutes. Wagner got 35. Everyone else was 20 or 25 or fewer. Big Z, of course, limited to 17 because of his hand. I don't know what to expect with this Ole Miss game. I don't know what to expect. I really don't. Let's talk about what they did. Let's go into the specialty stats. This is one of my favorite things. 23 bench points, 30 points in the paint, 8 points off turnovers, 15 second chance points. Again, you want to talk about the recipe for success, my friend. That's it right there. 15 second chance points with 30 points in the paint. I'm not, you need to be at like 12, 13, 14 offensive boards a game, especially in this kind of tournament. You've got to rack up those second chance opportunities. They were 50% on layups, which, again, some of that was just, I'm going to say it, I don't know that I put that on the Razorbacks. It was just horrible officiating. These guys were getting all kinds of contact, weren't allowed to finish at the rim. So I don't know that I'm putting the 50% on the 50% layups on specifically the players, but this has been a problem for Arkansas, not finishing at the rim. Very similar to several of Muss's years, like we like to mention here. But Arkansas, again, 2 for 2 on dunks. This game was tied twice. Twice they took the lead. 66 total possessions. But I'm loving the points in the paint. I'm loving that. I'm loving the points off turnovers and second chance points. The second chance points and then opponent total turnovers with the 11. I like that a lot against a team like South Carolina. South Carolina is a very technical but physical team. I think they're a very technical but physical team, and you're about to play another good defensive team tomorrow in Ole Miss. So, yeah. What are you guys saying here? Also, Adu had 4 fouls with several minutes left to go and didn't foul out. That is also true. He's still – and that's one of the things we often wonder. Like, I'll hear people like, where's the defense from the first half? When you get a couple of guys, it changes the entire – defensive energy of a team when someone like Adu starts racking up fouls. When you're playing with, that's why you get benched when you get a couple of fouls in the first half. It's so important that this team doesn't get into foul trouble. You can't afford to have Brazil, Adu, DJ Wagner. Those are guys that are like pivotal. They cannot be in foul trouble in the first half. You can't have them not on the floor. And that's unfortunate. That speaks to why, just having this rotation the way that it is you're playing with fire. Ty, so the Hogs in the tournament now, asked James Freeman. Yeah. You avoided that second loss, that second embarrassing loss. You avoided it. You probably, I think, again, with someone like Adu Thero, who is a two-way player, he's a baller on the offense, and he is great as a defender. He could pick your pocket. He could defend well. Now, his problem was he got into some foul trouble, but when he played clean defense, at times he was like one of the better defenders on the floor, no matter the opponent. So I think a guy like Adu Thero in this game, I mean, you're going to say this about every game you play, right? He changes the entire vibe when you got someone like Adu Thero who you could rotate in, or if you've got him out there as a starter, whatever. He provides so much. So I think with someone like Adu, this probably is a double-digit win for Arkansas. And then you obviously you start talking about Nelly and everything. The question is, though, now that I think most of us agree that Arkansas is in, no matter what happens tomorrow. Again, you're playing Ole Miss at noon. No matter what happens tomorrow, the question now is, now that you're in the tournament, what is the availability of Boogie Fland and Adu Thero? I'm starting to believe there's a possibility they could get Adu in the NCAA tournament. I don't know about Boogie Fland. I've heard that that's something that has been kind of mentioned. It's been floated around. I'm more prone to believe that Adu Thero would be available than Fland. But who knows? They both traveled. That's a good sign. Adu was there. That's obviously a great sign. I wish he was warming up with the team. I'd feel a lot better. And he was not warming up with the team today, to my knowledge. He wasn't seen shooting around. You'd feel a lot better. I would say at this moment, it's probably 60% he doesn't play, unless maybe you advance in the NCAA tournament. Who knows, right? I think now the question is, what are you looking at seeding-wise? I think you're going to end up at the 10 seed. Tomorrow really could be a seed pusher for Arkansas. If you beat Ole Miss, well, hell, I think you lock down the 10 seed. Maybe if you lose, you're at the 11. Maybe that's what this game does, if it moves the needle at all, right? And, of course, we don't know because we can't read the selection committee's mind. But, yeah, so that is the question moving forward, is just where is Arkansas at when it comes to the seeding. Refs were only calling fouls in South Carolina. End of the court. Hogs got most of the calls in the first half while using the basket. South Carolina got the calls while using theirs in the second. Yeah, but I mean, it's not like Arkansas wasn't trying to drive to the rim in the second half either. They were not getting the calls that South Carolina was. South Carolina was just untouchable around the post. Ty, I hope we lose the Ole Miss game on purpose. We need time to recover and mentally prepare for the tournament, says Cheesy Skull. You don't ever want to root for a team to lose. However, you're fine. I think you're probably fine with them not winning tomorrow. I just don't. Well, of course, you're going to have your ledge jumpers tomorrow. And if you go out there and you get absolutely smoked by Ole Miss, then, yeah, all right, what the hell's going on, right? But if you make it tough and you play well and maybe you lose by, 7 or 8 points, whatever, move on. Let's get ready for the NCAA tournament, right? That's the mode you should be locked in at. I think, again, Selection Sunday is going to be exciting. Selection Sunday is going to be exciting. I'm actually really pumped for it no matter what. I'm probably more excited for that than I am the rest of the SEC tournament. For sure. Thero would be a help, but I'm not sure Boogie could step right back in and make a difference off that. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, again, Nick Smith, right? Nick Smith misses so much of the season. He comes back, and what happens, right? He has one really good game, and then that was it. What happened to Knox? That is a really good question. What's going on, Patrick? How you doing, man? Knox has been a little dicey past few games. That's fair. I mean, Knox ends up with 2 points. He gets 23 minutes. He's 1 of 4. Really didn't do much. I saw him he looked a little lost on defense a couple of times. Maybe it's just that freshman coming out of him a little bit. I don't know. I've been a little surprised by him because it seemed like there for a while Knox was really dialed in, like Knox, a more than capable player, right? Knocking down clutch shots, mid-range game, 3-point game, driving to the lane. Like, he can be a 3-level scorer. How effective, we don't know just yet, but there's opportunities there for him, for a guy like that. So I am a little bit surprised I kind of thought the way he was playing there towards the second half of the season, I really thought he was going to turn around. That's what we were going to expect most games out of him, right, moving forward. But he's a freshman. You got to give him a little bit of wiggle room, right? So, again, Arkansas shoots 45% from the floor, 32% from outside, 7 of 22, and almost 94% at the free throw line, 15 of 16. Incredible. Adu got the gold chain. 14 points, 11 boards, 2 offensive rebounds, a steal, a block, just 2 turnovers with 25 minutes in the second half. He got in a little bit of foul trouble, and he had to let up a little bit on defense, but he still played terrific defense. I mean, I was very impressed with him. Not saying it was perfect defense, but pretty solid defense. So Arkansas 20-12, advancing, playing tomorrow against Ole Miss. The poll is asked right now. Hogs will beat Ole Miss tomorrow, ? 58% of you say yes. 58% of you say absolutely. Let's look at really quick. What do we have later today? We got Texas. Texas is playing. You know, they're fighting for their lives too. That's a team. It's on right now, actually, isn't it? Vanderbilt and Texas is playing right now. What is our schedule tonight? Who do we have later? Let's take a look at this really quick. Oklahoma at Georgia, and we still got LSU at Mississippi State. Mississippi State favored in that one. So, if Arkansas can advance, they will end up if they advance tomorrow, they will play in the quarterfinals on Friday against Auburn, March 14th. That is another noon game. So I don't know how to, do they have Arkansas up yet on the nope. So Arkansas is not up yet on the betting blocks just yet. We got Mississippi State and LSU tonight, Oklahoma and Georgia. That one might actually be worth watching. Let's see. What are we looking at? Let's pull this up. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. Well, we don't want that. We want this. There it is. Georgia, Oklahoma. Georgia favored at -3.5. Over under at 147. Some bets there already available. That tip off tonight. Oh, this says 8:30. This is 8:30. Okay, no, that's right. Yeah, it's 8:30 now. Woo, that's a late one. Damn. Feel sorry for those fans that got to go to work tomorrow morning. Shit, 8:30. That's just unnecessary. Come on a weeknight, fellas. Get it straightened out. But okay, there you go. So get involved if you want to lay down some money here. This is peer-to-peer sports betting over on BroThrow. Use promo code TUSK to get in. Lay down a bet. All right, we're going to pop that bad boy off there. All right, shout out to BroThrow and, of course, Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company, all the sponsors, Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. Appreciate all of you. What is our poll at? Hogs will beat Ole Miss. So we're at 57% of you say yes. Oh, we do have a quote. We have a quote here on John Calipari on a Duthero and Boogie Flan. Depends on, so he was asked if they're coming back. Depends on how far we advance. He also, he also ruled out the potential of either returning during the SEC tournament. Okay, so there you go. There it is. So there's a possibility here. You could see, I guess, both of them. Did I read that right? There you have it. Maybe we'll get to see them play after all. Got to advance, though, right? Let's put an end to this poll. 57% of you say, yeah, Arkansas is going to advance past Ole Miss. Oh, boy. And then you got that rematch against Auburn. So I guess we'll see, right? All right. I appreciate everyone. I'll be back tomorrow, same time after the game. I'll be here. Look forward to it one way or another, win or lose. Great win. You got this one off your plate. You feel really confident now that you are going to advance. So, yeah, that's it. We're done. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Congrats, of course, to Jonas Adu. What is this, his second goal chain? Jonas Adu's second post-game MVP goal chain. Congrats, man. All right, I'll see you guys. Well, I'll see you tomorrow.